Bam, 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 bam. What's going on, everybody? I hope you had a good holiday season. It's still going, I guess. Hola. How is everybody doing? Oh, you know what? Man, I just forget things, you know? I can do a sweet fade. Or, hold on, a sweet fade on the music, or I can do a cool, I didn't even write this. I didn't even do this today. Trying to make this a thing, you know? The beginning of each episode. Jon Does. Episode 83. It's my director board. I have only used it on this show. Anyways, I knew I was forgetting something. The director board and the music fade. I like it. I just can't do them both at the same time. That's all. No big deal. I will try to do the director board as much as possible, and I will get better at holding the director board, doing the clip, snap, and fading the intro music. So bear with me as I learn how to do that. All right. So what's going on today? Well, it's the end of the year. We got one more episode on Friday before New Year's, before we go right into 2023, which is going to be great. Friday, Pat will be here. He's sick right now. I know he's not feeling so hot. So if he can't be here, I'm going to talk to him about doing a call-in segment, because we have our top 10 movies of the year that I want to do. I was going to do last week, but we wanted a little more time. And then, of course, Pat got sick. So it's Pat's fault. Everything's Pat's fault. Nazi Germany, Pat's fault. I'm just kidding. Pat. I don't know if you're watching yet, if at all. But, yeah, so let's see. I got some bad news that I heard recently. Recently today. I heard this today. Actions is putting the show together. There was an article from Variety that came out. Now this is a little sad for me. I mean, not just me, but the person involved particularly. Modest Mouse drummer Jeremiah Green diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That is a real bummer. I don't even really know what to say other than, like, I hope you are doing the best that you can, are living your best life right now. There's a lot of people that really appreciate your music, me being one of them. So there was a post on, I think it was Instagram. I'll read some of this Variety article real quick for you. Yeah, there's only a few paragraphs here. Jeremiah Green, the drummer and co-founder of rock band Modest Mouse, has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The band announced Green's diagnosis on its official Instagram on Tuesday night. Quote, some of you may have already heard, but I figured it would be good to hear the news directly from our camp, lead singer Isaac Brock wrote. Quote, Jeremiah was diagnosed with cancer a short while ago. He's currently in treatment. It seems to be going smoothly and making a positive difference. Jeremiah, as I am, are believers in the power of positive energy. So if you would be so kind to send good vibes, to quote Jeremiah, in the direction of Jeremiah and his family, that would be great. Green's mother, Carol, also asked fans for healing vibes in a Facebook post on Christmas, writing that her son is battling stage 4 cancer, but is Quote, so strong and so brave and hanging in there. KEXP DJ Marco Collins added in his own Facebook post that Green had dropped out of the band's recent tour to undergo chemotherapy treatment. It is unclear what type of cancer Green was diagnosed with. Despite having stage 4 diagnosis, his prognosis is good, Collins wrote. Also, his oncologist is a big Modest Mouse fan, so he's got that in his corner. Green has been the drummer for Modest Mouse since 1992. When he formed the band along with Brock and former bassist Eric Judy, he left the group briefly in 2003, but returned later that year and has been recording and touring with Modest Mouse ever since. The band's 7th album, The Golden Casket, released on June 25th, 2021. I remember when he left in 2023. I believe there was some mental exhaustion going around from what I remember. I did see Modest Mouse. I think Pat came with me. We saw Modest Mouse in 2003, I think it was. It was weeks before Good News for People Who Love Bad News came out. And they toured with the Helio Sequence, who's another great band. I haven't checked in on them in a while. I should do that. And the drummer for Helio Sequence ended up doing both sets. He did the Helio Sequence set and the Modest Mouse set, which was quite astounding. I was bummed at the time to not see Jeremiah Green there, but I did hear. I remembered hearing about, I think at the time it was phrased like, he was admitted to like a mental institution or something like that. And it's like, yeah, as you grow up, you understand like there's a varying degree of things that one might need, a break from reality, not a break from reality, but checking into some sort of clinic is good for some people at very trying times, I guess. And it seemed like Jeremiah was having some issues with anxiety, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for him, but I do remember when he was gone from Modest Mouse, because I think that was the one time I saw Modest Mouse live. I didn't do my plug. Whatever. It's all good. Jeremiah Green, we salute you. We hope you heal as best as you can, and thank you for everything. Just want to say that, just right out and about. So I'm going to move on a little bit here. There's another story I wanted to talk about before we get into our main topic today, which is a review of a show that's like, oh man, what year did it come out? 2008, 2009, something like that. Where's it at? 2009 to 2010. There was 2 seasons of Better Off Ted, and I'm going to talk about it here because I don't know how many people have seen this show. I know a couple people, myself, that have watched the show, but most people I know have not watched Better Off Ted. But before we get there, just wanted to talk about Avatar again. Look, I liked this movie. I've seen it twice in 3D. And I think it expands on the world that we've seen before. And it gives us more. I have come out of seeing this movie multiple times now thinking I'm really glad there's a new franchise. Not to say that I like living in the age of franchises, because, like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, that's a lot of the discussion around movies these days. Well, if we are going to live in the franchise age. I'm glad there's a new one. Something that isn't beholden to 30 years of books or anything like that. This is purely James Cameron's brainchild, and the technological feats behind these movies. I rewatched the first Avatar, and it holds up as well as it did originally story-wise, which I think a lot of people already had the complaint of, like, this is Dances with Wolves, this is Fern Gully, this is, it's a lot like other movies in some degrees. This movie has some of those tropes, but I didn't walk out of this thinking like, oh, this is Dances with Wolves 2 or 3, or Fern Gully. Oh, there were sequels to that. I think they were direct to DVD. Anyways, I was going to look that up, but no need to side tangent that here. Anyways, I have become a much bigger fan of the Avatar series. Even after the first one, I enjoyed seeing it. I liked it. And then it disappeared for 12 years or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, I heard there was more coming. I was like, like a lot of people, a little too late, it seems like. But I mean, it is nice to go back to something fresh. And this movie was fresh and exciting. I didn't have a lot of expectations behind it. But yeah, after I saw it, people were talking about like, oh, it only made $55 million in its first day only. Now, I get it. People were like, this movie cost like $2 billion. No, this movie didn't. This movie probably cost like $600 million, $700 million. I might have those numbers wrong. The numbers might actually be out there, which I did not look up today. But they did film like two and parts of 3 and parts of 4 together. And what I did read was partially because James Cameron wanted to avoid the like Stranger Things. I guess it was put in terms of Stranger Things, but this is a problem that Hollywood has managed to work with for a while. But like, if you start a franchise with kids, and it takes a couple years to make a movie, especially like a bunch of franchises or a bunch of movies within a franchise, it takes years and years and years. Horny Dino content. Rawr. What's up, Derpy? Oh, I saw Fatville first, and it came up as red for some reason, and it looked like Derpy Moist. But it's just super tiny. Anyways, I was just talking about how Avatar hit $1 billion globally, which I didn't really have. I didn't really have doubts that it would. It's James Cameron. Oh, you got a Darth Vader shaped coffee mug? Did you get that for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday you may or may not celebrate? Happy holidays, Derpy, by the way. I'm glad you got a Darth Vader mug. I wish you could post pictures in YouTube chat. I would like to see what mug you have. Because Darth Vader's badass. He's one of the greatest, Darth Vader is one of the greatest cinematic villains of all time, and I believe Anakin Skywalker is one of the most complex characters in any franchise. Didn't used to think that, but I do now. I do now. Yeah, so anyways, Avatar came out the week before Christmas, and people were like, oh, it didn't make that much money in its opening weekend, which it still made like $55 million domestically, which is nothing to like bat an eye. Of course, when you hear that there's like a $2 billion or whatever that people were saying for this movie, it wasn't this movie. It was this movie plus 2 or 3 and some of 4, I think. So it didn't really have as big of an uphill battle as people think. Like, it has to make $200 billion. I don't care what James Cameron says. It did not need to make $2 billion to succeed. It needed to make like $1 billion to succeed, and it did in 14 days. The other thing that Avatar has going for it, aside from the fact that it came out the weekend before Christmas, Christmas is one of the biggest movie-going holidays of the year. So, like, its second week drop, which is usually one of the big things to mark, if you're following like movie stuff, is the second week's box office, how much it drops. Christmas is like the big holiday. Avatar is one of those movies that, of course, it's long. It doesn't feel that long. Babylon feels like a long movie. I did not enjoy Babylon very much. There were some good moments, but I felt the runtime in that movie. It's like 3 hours and 10 minutes, and Avatar's like 3 hours and 12 minutes or something like that. And every moment that's boring in Avatar, you're still immersed in the world. And I mean, I was, at least. I'm curious to see it in like a 2D plane. Like I said, I saw it in 3D twice, but I also think that's it was made for this. This is one of those few movies that I think 3D is beneficial, and I don't say that very often. I'm not a big fan of 3D. The last two movies that I enjoyed in 3D were the first Avatar and Coraline, because there were some really awesome shots that worked in Coraline in 3D. But yeah, so not only did Avatar come out the weekend before one of the biggest movie-going days of the year, there's not really a rival to this until February. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is probably the next big movie that could like knock it off its box office like perch, you know. But that's not till February. We have like a month and a half still before another movie comes along that's on the level of trying to get audiences to the theater. Not to say there aren't movies coming out. There are, but like the big theater experience that, you know, the theater chains and the studios want you to go see are, you know, the big ones: Star Wars, Marvel, stuff like that. And Avatar's next competition is Ant-Man Quantumania in like a month and a half. So it's got weeks ahead of it. And let's not even like talk about one of the big reasons why the first Avatar movie has made so much money is it's many re-releases over the last 12 years. So, what was it? Like, I think it was Endgame beat Avatar, and then like a couple of months later they re-released Avatar, and it just like nudged over Endgame again. So there was like a back and forth of like Marvel and James Cameron being like, congratulations to each other for being the most grossing movie of all time or whatever. So yeah, it's made $1 billion, and it's got a lot more to go. I'm not even going to read this full article. There's a lot. I mean, it's not that long, but I basically said everything I think I need to say here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Cool. Avatar 2 this is again from Variety. Avatar 2 looks to stay strong into the new year, which is necessary to justify its massive price tag. Cameron estimated the $350 million budgeted movie, not including at least $100 million on marketing fees. Usually, my understanding is marketing is about double what you have. So even if it was, okay, it's 350, it's going to be 700. If it's double for the marketing of this movie, let's say $700 million. They've already grossed over that at this point. Let's see. Needs to generate. Okay, yeah. Here's the whole thing. Cameron estimated the $350 million budgeted movie, not including at least $100 million in marketing fees, needs to generate roughly $2 billion to break even. That is not true. Though analysts believe the threshold to profitability is probably closer to 1.5 billion. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot riding on the way of water, not just because it's huge price tag, but also because it's the first of 3 planned follow-ups in Cameron's otherworldly series. So that $2 billion that people are talking about is part of 3 and 4. They shot stuff partly due to the kids, so they don't like age out of everything, and they have to like redo character renders and stuff like that. They could all shoot it at the same time. So they've already shot a bunch of the sequel movies that is wrapped up into that $2 billion price tag. So from my math here, let's just say it's double for the marketing, and we're just talking about one movie. If the budget is $350 million for that first movie, and the so if the movie's 350, let's just go that double. Even though they say 100 million for marketing here, let's just roughly say that it is double the marketing. That's what I know typically. Double your production cost, and that's what you're spending on marketing. Not double the production cost, but with marketing and production, just double that original price. So $700 million. It's already made $1 billion, so it's made $300 million. It's continually growing, and it will until probably Ant-Man Quantumania comes out. So let's just say it gets to that $1.6 billion. It's made its money back. It has made its money back for that particular film. The series as a whole, the other 2 movies that they filmed parts of are not out yet. Those movies also have to recoup money. They also need more money to get finished, but that's where the whole like $2 billion price tag comes at. So like, in my opinion, and based on the math that we have here, I don't know if it's completely accurate, Avatar's made its money back already. So I don't know. People freaking out about all that. Oh, Avatar needs to make $2 billion. Calm down. There are 3 movies tied into that $2 billion. Let's just be nice and say 2.5 movies built into that $2 billion. You have 3 movies that are going to recoup money for you. This first one already recouped its money back. I don't know what the conversation is here. Plus, again, for the millionth time, it has till February until it gets like some other movie that will knock it off its pedestal. And I also do think that this Avatar benefits the same way that the original Avatar benefited, where there was a lot of marketing, but people were going to see it because their friends and family had gone to see it, and they're like, that was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Excuse me. So, I don't know. This whole Avatar conversation. Just if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a fun movie. It's an event movie. There are few of these days that I think are event movies, and even Star Wars has declined, I think, when it comes to event movies, and that's why I think it's killing it in streaming. Ryan, you hate fun. Let's discuss that on 90s Nostalgia. No, I mean, Avatar's not gonna be for everybody. Like, Avatar's a movie that I don't think my mom would enjoy. We did actually watch the first one together, and she hated that movie. She's not a big fan of some of the same stuff that I enjoy. But yeah, there's gonna be some people that I'd need a built-in porta potty. It is a long movie. I will say, and this goes back to my conversation the other day with Babylon, the movie Babylon. Babylon is 3 hours and 10 minutes. Avatar is 3 hours and 12 minutes. And I could not wait to get out of the theater. I could not wait to get out of the theater watching Babylon. Avatar was a different scenario for me because, again, I did see it in 3D. I'm so immersed in the world and everything going on that even those like slower moments that are kind of compacted in the middle there, they didn't bother me as much as like there were moments. But Pat and I went and saw Babylon. There was 3 people in the theater. Pat and I were 2 of those people. The other person was way far from me. And I usually keep good theater etiquette. I don't even care about my phone most of the time. I don't pull it out during theaters. I actively was looking at the clock multiple times during Babylon. Avatar didn't do that to me just because, you know, there's beautiful worlds going on and then like crazy action. Story, I think it can be debated. There are kind of like the first movie, there's some tropey stuff that just it's there, but I don't know. It's James Cameron, you know, like he's not the like greatest storyteller. Like he doesn't build these crazy like elaborate like Christopher Nolan stories or anything like that, you know. I wouldn't even say Christopher Nolan makes elaborate stories either. He tries to make people think. I have been on an anti-Christopher Nolan kick for a while. I don't totally dislike Christopher Nolan, but I also like don't really care for most of his movies. The first 2 Batman movies are probably my favorites, but for the most part, Christopher Nolan. It's a little pretentious of a director, I think. And I don't really like pretentiousness so much in my movies. I like escapism, because that's why I'm here. There's too much bullshit in the world already. But hey, I'm done talking about Avatar because I've talked about it a lot already. I'm going to go to my commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to talk to you guys about Better Off Ted. This is a show. I don't know how many people watch this, but this came out in 2009 and was on for 2 seasons. And I recently rewatched it, so I want to talk about it here in a minute. But let's get to the commercial break, and I'll see you guys in about 40 seconds. Peace.
I'm Richard. Richard's Pet Wedding Facilities. And I give these stickers away at every pet wedding. The kids love them too.
This bag from, what's his name? Wild Dinosaur? Weren't they all wild? Why not oxymoron? Anyways, I like to put my special things in this bag. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is my spirit animal.
Life gave me lemons, so I sold them for this sweet baseball tee.
All right. We're back. Why are we back? We're back because I need to do something consistent with my life. That's why we're here. Also, I want to point out, I moved my motion light. It was sitting up on my PS5 for a while, so I have like a strip right there. The purple lights are a strip, and then the motion lights are like this little orb thing. And I moved it down there, and I think it looks beautiful. I think it accentuates the guitars a little better. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my lighting setup. Could always be better, but I think that stuff will change when I find a new studio at some point. All right, we are here because of this show. It's called Better Off Ted. I don't even remember where I saw it first. I think I might have just run into it, and the guitars look great. Yeah, thanks. I agree. I did get rid of that Les Paul. I still have this Gretsch right here. I have for sale. But all my other guitars look beautiful. I love my guitars. They are my children. Okay, Better Off Ted. This was on, what was it? I think this was on NBC. And it was created by Victor Fresco, who I didn't know much of until I looked him up. My boy Victor Fresco here did writing work on a bunch of stuff. He is producer on the Santa Clarita Diet, some other. Andy Richter controls the universe, the reunion. Remember when that first came out? My Name is Earl. He was a consulting producer on there, but he is also a writer, and he did. I think he is the head writer for Better Off Ted. But he also did. He was a writer on My Name is Earl, which is another show I really liked. I have not rewatched it in a while, but I have been thinking about it. And then there was a couple other ones. Yeah, the original Andy Richter Controls the Universe in 2002 and 3. Yeah, here it is. This was, well, there's two that really got me, that this creator did. He wrote on the show Dinosaurs, which if you are on this channel, you understand that I'm the wild dinosaur, and I definitely grew up watching Dinosaurs. It is a great show, fantastic show, maybe the best show of all time. I don't mean that, but it's a good show. Really depressing ending, by the way. We should talk about that one of these days. But he also worked on Alf, which was another show that I really loved watching as a kid. I was on. He only did like 5 episodes, I guess. On both Alf and Dinosaurs. Interesting. The first thing he has credited here that I like is the new Monkeys. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys remember the Monkeys. I was a big Monkeys fan back in the day. But then, yeah, they tried to reboot it in the like late 80s, early 90s, something like that. And he worked on that. Anyways, Better Off Ted. Okay, what is it? What is this show? And why do I like it so much? So here is what IMDb has as their, quick little log line. In an amoral science-based company, a manager tries to keep control of his scientist while being pressured by his shrewd boss. The shrewd boss there is Portia de Rossi. Oh, last Train to Clarksville is heavy. It was super heavy. Man, there was some good Beatles, or not Beatles, the Monkeys. Keep doing that. Kept calling Modest Mouse Mars Volta, and geez, it's just one of those days, Words escape me. So yeah, Portia de Rossi, from Arrested Development, and she was on wasn't she on one of those other like lawyer shows in the late 90s, early 2000s? Yeah, wasn't she on Ally McBeal or something like that? I think she was in Ally McBeal. She actually has quite a resume here. Is that what that is? No. Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess she was here for a handful of episodes or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really watch Ally McBeal, but I remember the cultural significance it had with the dancing baby and crap like that. She's in Scream 2, Stigmata, Ally McBeal. Oh yeah, no. She was in. Why is this here twice? Ally is different than Ally McBeal. She's in 13 episodes of Ally and 89 episodes of Ally McBeal, but they look like they're the same show. I don't know why this is listed twice. Maybe there's like shorts or something. Twilight Zone. Nip Tuck. Better Off Ted. Yeah. Okay, so if you've seen her, you've probably seen her as Lindsay Bluth Funke in Arrested Development. She was married to Tobias Funke, David Cross's character, the Blue Man, if you will. And she does a lot of comedic stuff. And she does a really good job of just like the cold, emotionless boss for a large company. So getting back to Better Off Ted, yeah, it's about a company that develops stuff. There's literally no like one thing that this company really focuses on. It's General, I guess. General Electric. That's maybe who they're making fun of. I don't know. Viridian's the name of the company. I just rewatched it. I like to, little quick aside here. I like to check out iTunes at the end of the year around the holidays for movie bundles and TV shows, like complete series. I don't typically like. I mean, it's weird to think that people still buy stuff in the digital age. I know there's a lot of like physical media, and this isn't even physical media. I'm just buying TV series off iTunes and stuff. I started doing that for a reason, actually. The reason being, I moved around for a while, and there would be, weeks, periods where I couldn't get internet working because we just moved in and couldn't get a guy to the place for like a week or whatever. So I would try to download some shows. Like Futurama was one that I've watched like a million times, and Parks and Rec and stuff like that. That have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons or whatever. Sorry, my belt is super tight and like cutting my waist off. So I would download stuff. So in those in between having internet and not, I would have stuff that I could still download and watch. Even if it was just like to pass out to or whatever. So it became like a habit of mine to check out iTunes around the holiday season. And I found, honestly hadn't even thought about Better Off Ted since it aired. I watched it when it was originally airing, and then kind of forgot about it for the longest time, and saw it recently listed. So I was like, you know what? There's 2 seasons. I think they were like $10 a season or something like that. So I was like, I'll pick them up. It's the holidays. Got to do it. It's my thing. So I picked them up and I rewatched them, and I think this show's still funny. I like the work comedies because it's actually something I've been working on for a while for myself, is my own version of a workplace comedy. I don't want to start any arguments right now. I'm not a big Office fan. I do think the British Office is superior because it ended when it needed to. Maybe even before it needed to. The American Office just kept going. There's some funny stuff there. I did watch it for a while, but I think Parks and Rec is a superior show for lots of reasons. That can be an episode unto itself, which probably will be at some point. I want to start a war with people online why Parks and Rec is better than The Office. Anyways, fight me. This is the type of workplace comedy where things get weird. There's these 2 scientists, Phil and Lem. And Phil is played by Jonathan Slavin, and Lem is played by Malcolm Barrett, who I'd seen in quite a few things at this point. He's been like the scientist in a couple of things that I've seen, but he was also in the pilot episode. I don't know if it's technically the pilot. I'll say it's the first episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I love that show as well. He's in Preacher, Dear White People. I never saw that. I heard good things. Sorry, I know there's something that I remember seeing him in, but I can't think of it. I'm just going through his IMDb real quick. Yeah, Preacher. I think he was like a scientist in Preacher or something like that. Or he's like a side guy. Popped up in some Key and Peele. I'm not seeing. He's been in a ton of stuff. Even The Office. Stanley. Oh, he's Stanley's replacement in The Office. Okay. I think I might be thinking of Preacher. Damn. I just went through so much of his resume, and I'm just now getting to Better Off Ted. He's done a lot of stuff. Yeah. So he's Sunny in Philadelphia. Tyrell. And they're both really funny. They're both, since they're scientists, they're both like kind of the straight man, if you will, and the doofus at the same time. Like they're both not totally socially adjusted, and they're lab partners and they've worked together for years. So they're like an old couple, watching them deal with stuff, which is really funny into itself. Just those two. They're kind of like, if you watched Community, they're kind of like the Trey and Abed pairing. Let's see. Well, the lead of the show, Jay Harrington, right there in the center on that poster on your screen. Jay Harrington plays Ted. He's the one that is trying to manage balancing work relationships and all the stuff that his company makes him do. And he is a single father. So he has a daughter, Rose, who pops up, who's like 8 or 9 or something like that in the show. And so she becomes part of the storyline as well. And one of the other main leads here is Andrea Anders, who plays Linda Zwordling. She is like, she's not a product tester herself. I think she's the head of like product testing. And her and Ted have like a will they won't they thing going on for a while. But she is very upfront, very I think she says things even when she doesn't mean to say things, It's just sometimes she just can't like shut up. And I don't mean that as like she needs to shut up. It's I do this myself sometimes, where you just like, you're inner monologuing and you end up saying things that like you probably shouldn't be saying out loud. That's the Linda character a lot of the times, but she's a really great lead. I don't know. I guess I haven't watched Ted Lasso, but I guess she's in Ted Lasso. She's Ted Lasso's wife in the show, from what I understand. I really liked the Linda character quite a bit. This show again it's got a pretty good balance for me of like the weird offbeat characters. Jay's Ted is the one like straight guy, and I keep saying straight guy, and it's not a sexual thing. It's the term, like a straight man in a movie is, you have the Odd Couple, right? If you're familiar with the Odd Couple, one was the doofus and one was the straight man. So like, you kind of, audiences tend to follow the straight man. He's our perspective in a lot of sense, and Ted does that in this show, and he even narrates to the camera quite a lot. Which it's funny because sometimes he'll say his inner monologue and then something completely opposite happens. Yeah, there's how many episodes were there? I forget. 26. There's 26 episodes total. Season 1 has 13. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so there's 13 episodes per season. Dang, I'm sorry. I'm just super gassy right now. Just burping. Burp, 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 burp. So this show's great. It is basically one of those shows where like nothing changes really by the end of the episode. Like you could watch any episode and it's just like a scenario happening with these people basically. And sometimes those shows are really great to watch. Like now that I have this, I will probably just throw on random episodes nights before I go to bed or something like that. And let's see, I'm trying to think of like specific things that happen. I mean, there's a lot of real fun stuff that happens throughout the office in general, just because there is doing some random stuff there. There's like some auxiliary characters that pop up here and there. One of the better ones, I think, is Dr. Bomba, played by Maz Jabrani. He's really funny. He's just like do you remember The Simpsons? He's like Dr. Nick. He's like, oh, I'm doing surgery. Oh, how did my watch get in there? Oh, well. I guess I need to buy a new watch. Sorry, I'm doing really bad. That was a Dr. Nick thing. I'm not trying to be an asshole to anybody. But Dr. Bomba does do stuff like that. Every once in a while on the show. He doesn't pop up in every episode, but when he does, it's great. What is this? I just got a notification that I've never seen before. What is this? Huh. Interesting. I should do this after the show, but I'm not sure what this is. I've never gotten these chase updates before. Yeah. So yeah, Better Off Ted's a really funny show. If you like, it's the holiday season, so if your family's in town and you're looking for something to watch, check this show out. It's older and it got past a lot of people, I think. Because not many people I know were big fans of it. It obviously only went to 2 seasons, which is a shame. It definitely could have used a third. But yeah, it's fun too, because the 2 scientists work in like the R&D department, and so they're always doing new things. There's like I'm just trying to think of products that they do throughout the series. There's always just something, and half the time it's like a failed product that didn't make it to air or to the shelves or something like that. And what they do in the show is they'll add in a fake commercial. I remember seeing this on TV and being like, the commercial break should be over. Why is there one more commercial? And then it's like, oh, this is actually a fake commercial for Viridian, the company in the show. And it's always the most generic corporate video, that never explains what they do. They're just like, we care about people a lot, and a lot of stock photos or stock footage and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no indication of what the company specifically is, but it is a good, I do think it is a good parody of working in corporate environments. Let's see, anyone else? There were a couple of like cameos, nothing big. Yeah, it's just a really funny show. And the situations that they got into, I think, are pretty fun. Sometimes you get bored of a show that just kind of repeats itself constantly. Maybe like Jon Does. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I again, this is a show that I do wish there were more episodes. Like, I've watched Parks and Rec all the way through, probably more than I can count on both hands. This is one of those shows I should have been paying more attention to, initially and over the years. Every time TV shows pop up that people like, well, what are your favorites? What are some of your favorite like sitcoms or shows like that? I've forgot about the show for the longest time, which is why I wanted to talk about it again to you guys, because it is a really funny show. It is 13 years old now, 14 years old now. But I do think it still holds up. A lot of the jokes are about like corporate America, which is an easy slam dunk. Oh yeah. There's one episode. It's towards, I think it's towards the end of season 1, called Jabberwocky, and it's basically what's going on. I'm just gonna give it a kind of a rundown of one episode. Ted reallocates some department money to Linda, who he's in love with, but they have this will they won't they type thing going on. And so her project is to just kind of greenify the building. So she wants to put a garden on the rooftop. And and so he reallocates some money so she can do this project, but he keeps it. He doesn't want to let the company know that he's, spending money on this other project that doesn't necessarily generate revenue for the company. So he's trying to keep it a little hush hush, but people are like, hey, where did this money go? And he's like, oh, this is for this project that we're working on, Project Jabberwocky, which is not a real thing. And it starts going around like the whole corporation, and not just like at the building, but like the whole corporation internationally. Like everybody's talking about Jabberwocky and how it's like going to change the face of business and stuff. And Ted and Portia de Rossi's character have to do a whole seminar on Jabberwocky, even though they don't know what Jabberwocky is because it's a lie. It's situations like that where, no one's getting hurt but the corporations. And that's fine. That's funny. When rich people lose their money, that's funny. It's funny to me. I like it. But these are the types of things that happen throughout the series. Corporate mismanagement, or even the other way, where corporations like rules are like so weird. You're like, why are they doing, like, I don't remember the whole premise, but there's one where a memo goes out where they have to start cussing at each other. Like they have to talk like that to each other. And it becomes real problematic for the whole corporation in general. But yeah, I don't know what else I got to say about Better Off Ted, other than like this is one of those like little gem comedy shows. Unfortunately, didn't last long enough. But I think it's still fun to go back to. I sometimes think about like, man, when I was a kid, watching reruns of stuff was, I watched a lot of reruns of things, but like, I don't know, man. There's been so much content over the last like 20 years, just in general. All the movies, all the TV, streaming services that are around. Like I remember watching F Troop. Most of you guys probably don't know what that is. It came out in like the 50s. It was about like what was it, a buffoon not Civil War. I guess it was, man. What is the synopsis on F Troop? Do a little thing here. I don't want Wikipedia. I don't want Wikipedia. I want IMDb. They're straight to the point. Wikipedia will go off about like why it was made and shit. The misadventures of the staff and neighbors of a remote U.S. Army outpost in the Wild West, and even the Native Americans in the show, which were probably most of them were white people and brown face. They were like very peaceful Indians, and I think there's a lot of jokes about smoking the peace pipe and stuff like that. But yeah, this when was this on? 1965 to 1967. These were the kind of reruns I watched when I was a kid. And now, like, I don't know. I dated somebody for a little bit who had a 16-year-old, and like she was rewatching Community and The Office and Parks and Recs and stuff like that. And I'm like, these are your reruns. That's awesome. I wish these were my reruns too. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be there for all of them, but Better Off Dead. If you got 16-year-olds, teens that are like into The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff like that, try this one. I mean, I'm not going to presume to tell you guys what you should do with your children if you have them. You do what you want with them. Just don't hurt them. Feed them regularly. maybe a bath every Sunday. Yeah, I don't know. This would have been something I probably would have recommended to my ex's daughter. I probably still should. Anyways, shit. I think that's it for Better Off Ted. Have you guys watched this show at all? Have any of you guys seen this show? If you have, was it originally? Have you rewatched it in the last 13 years? Is this a show that you like quote? Is this one of your, like, you and your best friend have like inside jokes from this show? Because there's some good stuff there. All the Phil and Lem stuff. Ryan says no. Well, Ryan, you don't watch TV. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Thanks for answering. Thanks for being a part of Jon Does. Since I'm getting out of here, I will let you guys know I'm going to try to do 3 days a week starting next week. I'm going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. If Monday is a complete failure, I'm just going to go back to doing Wednesdays and Fridays. But what do we have coming up? Not tomorrow, but on Friday, on the next Jon Does episode, Pat will be here. He is feeling sick, like I said. If he can't make it, we'll see about doing like a phone call with him, because I really want to get these, especially before the year is over this weekend. I want to get my our top 10 movies of the year out, because we both have pretty good lists, I think. I actually have some honorable mentions to start off the show with, because there were so many good ones, and next year is probably going to be just as difficult, if not more. Next year's got a lot of stuff coming out. So Friday's episode will be our top 10 our top 10 movies of the year. Monday is just going to be a test, see what's up, talk about some news or things going on. Wednesday, Ryan will be back for another nostalgia, 90s nostalgia episode. We are going to be talking about some 90s rock, alt rock, I guess. I don't know. The 90s were weird because there was rock and then alt rock, and those were kind of the two big rock genres. And sometimes I don't know where that line gets drawn. But yeah, we'll be talking about some 90s nostalgia on Wednesday, and then Friday we'll be back for another episode. So I'm sure you guys, should I do a what is it, ASMR episode where I just burp into the microphone? I'm sorry. I know some of you guys are probably like, please don't do that. That's disgusting. But what if I talk about movies like this? So Avatar made $1 billion. No, I shouldn't do this. I'm going to talk like an adult, like a normal person. So yeah. Again, I hope you guys had a good holiday. ASMR with Doritos. Yeah, I'm into that purely because I would love to eat some Doritos. So I'll be back on Friday with the top 10 list. I've been excited about this one, and Pat's finishing up his list. I'm making graphics probably tomorrow or Friday morning. For all of that, what else is there? Oh yeah, wish Pat, everybody, thoughts and prayers to Pat. He's not feeling so hot. He took the day off of work, which is an amazing thing. Pat doesn't take days off work. I think he cashes out his sick days at the end of the year just so he can buy synths. Look, I don't blame him for that, but yo, you gotta manage your mental health sometimes. Taking a day off every once in a while is okay. It's okay. Your job doesn't want you to know this, but it's okay to take time off. It's their fault if there's no coverage. It's not yours. Just a little friendly PSA. ASMR PSA. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to see you guys on Friday for that top 10 list. Please come back. That's going to be real fun. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Movies you probably have seen, movies you probably haven't seen this year. That's going to be a real good one. And then, yeah, I'll be back on Monday too. But don't forget, Ryan will be back with me on Wednesday. That's going to be a thing, I think, for a while. Till Ryan says, I don't want to talk to you anymore. until Ryan says, I've had enough of this Jon Does. It should be Ryan Does, and then Ryan Does. And then the channels just hit. If you want to run this channel, you just have to like out-talk me, which is really easy. No, yeah, so we'll be back. I'm going to end this episode because I need to, because I just can't not babble about stuff. So, yay. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody. Again, I'll be back on Friday. So, yeah, don't forget to come back. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace. Peace out.